In the next few years, every student in this country will be taught, assessed, or surveilled by artificial intelligence, whether we're ready or not. Let that sink in. This is not science fiction. It's not a prediction. It's happening quietly, invisibly, and at scale. AI is being sold to districts as a solution to workforce shortages. It's being integrated into learning platforms, tutoring apps, and grading systems. It's helping teachers, but it's also replacing parts of what teachers do. And most of this is happening without a framework, without a policy, and without a pause. Now ask yourself this. Would you board a plane designed by an AI with no oversight, no flight manual, and no accountability if it failed? Because that's what we're asking of our educators and our students when we deploy AI tools without governance. I'm Dr. Pierrette Renée Dagg, and I'm honored to be here with you today to talk about a topic that is no longer emerging, it's urgent. Ethical AI in education, building transparent frameworks for the future, is not just a title. This is a call to action. We'll explore how AI is reshaping education, from how we teach and assess to how we protect or risk student data, agency, and equity. I'm the Director of Research at Merit Network, the Research Associate at the Quello Center for Media and Information Policy at Michigan State University, and an adjunct instructor at Oakland Community College. AI is seductive because it offers personalization, efficiency, and scale. But as educators, we don't just deliver information, we are shaping the moral architecture of learning. And that's why we need to act now, not because AI is coming, but because it's already here. And if we don't shape this with care and clarity, it will shape us instead in ways that we aren't going to be able to undo. AI tools are being introduced in classrooms, in assessments, and in decisions about interventions without any shared roadmap, no coordinated oversight, and no framework grounded in our values as educators. Multiple international agencies have tried to address this, but these frameworks are often vague, non-binding, or developed by groups with commercial interests. One widely cited set of guidelines simply says act ethically, but when AI is being used to predict student behavior, analyze mental health signals, or to make decisions about interventions, what does that mean? Who defines it, and where is that line? Some guidance points us to existing laws or to widely shared values, but here's the thing. The law is not always just, and the majority is not always right. Snauert reminds us that principles, values, and practices, even though widely shared, can and historically have often been biased, exclusionary, culturally violent, and unjust. Think about that. What's legal or common does not make it ethical. We've seen this across history in education, in technology, and in civil rights. And if we anchor AI governance to what is currently accepted, we risk reinforcing the very systems that we're trying to improve. So how do we actually build an ethical framework for AI in education? We start with an environmental scan, taking a clear look at how AI is already showing up in classrooms, officially or not. Because AI is there whether you've endorsed it or not, and policy has to be built on truth and transparency. Next, we need to build a governance team that's diverse and cross-functional, not just IT and administrators, but teachers, librarians, parents, and yes, even students with equal voice. If they're the ones who are most impacted, they need a seat at the table. From there, you can co-create your ethical framework and ground that in real practice, in shared values, and in the voices of those who will live with the impact. The logic model on the next few slides, I don't have enough time to talk about, so if you're interested, you can go ahead and pause the video. I want to offer just a little bit more on environmental scans. Often AI shows up in more places than people realize, from proctoring tools to plagiarism detection to features hidden in learning management systems, analytics dashboards, and in shadow IT practices. The scan inventories these tools, examines their purpose, and weighs the benefit against the cost. It also reviews data practices, and this is critical. What's collected, who owns it, and how it's shared, while capturing the perceptions of faculty, staff, and students, and identifying skills gaps. Together, all of this information can provide the foundation for building trust and for crafting effective policy. As Holmes noted, no framework has been devised, no guidelines have been agreed, no policies have been developed, and no regulations have been enacted to address the specific ethical issues raised by the use of AI in education. That is not a small oversight, that's a structural failure. Education is not just another sector, it's where values are formed, where identity is negotiated, and where democracy is practiced. We need a framework that goes beyond do no harm. We need one that actively advances justice, inclusion, transparency, and student agency. It also means recognizing that the classroom is not a lab and students are not test subjects. Ethics need to be embedded in every stage, from procurement and design to implementation and assessment. Most importantly, educators need to lead this conversation, not technology firms, not policymakers, and not marketing departments. Because when we let someone else define our values, we've already lost control of the future that we're trying to build. When we talk about AI in education, it's easy to focus on the promise: personalized learning, automated grading, and intelligent tutoring. But we also need to face the risks. AI often inherits and amplifies bias, embedding racism, sexism, and classism into systems that shape student outcomes. It turns student data into a commodity, collecting and monetizing information without consent. Surveillance is becoming the norm, teaching students that being constantly watched is just a part of learning. And perhaps the most troubling, these tools can manipulate behavior and reduce teaching to efficiency metrics. Students are being treated as data points instead of whole people. We're at risk of replacing the messiness of learning, the human struggle, with the illusion of precision. And finally, there's the threat to democracy. AI in education has the power to influence not just what we learn, but how we learn to think. If algorithms determine curriculum, prioritize certain perspectives, or recommend information in ways we don't fully understand, they are shaping civic knowledge. If students are surveilled and categorized from an early age, what does that teach them about privacy, rights, or dissent? When we automate decision-making in education, we risk automating away deliberation, and that is foundational to democratic life. If schools are training grounds for citizenship, then the unchecked use of AI, especially without ethical guardrails, can erode the very values education is meant to instill: critical thinking, equity, transparency, and participation. These risks are not speculative. They're already unfolding, and if we don't name them and build policy and governance around them, we risk letting AI harden the inequities we've been trying to dismantle for generations. What makes AI in education so uniquely complex is that it operates at the intersection of human development, institutional systems, and emerging technology. That's why we can't afford vague principles or borrowed ethics from other industries. We need precision and clarity. Let's start with people before profit. AI systems must serve the development of learners emotionally, cognitively, and socially, not the efficiency metrics of vendors. When automation comes before care, care must win. Transparency and accountability are not optional. Educators need to know what these tools are doing, why they're making the decisions they are, and what assumptions they're based on. And when harm occurs or when outcomes aren't met, we need structures in place to course correct. Autonomy and equity are often compromised by personalization algorithms that seem empowering but are actually prescriptive. We have to ensure learners retain agency and that bias doesn't get baked into the system through bad data or flawed models. And finally, well-being and pedagogy. Not every AI tool is good pedagogy. If a system undermines play, curiosity, or creativity, or makes students feel watched, labeled, or anxious, it's not supporting learning. This isn't about what AI can do, it's what we should allow it to do. This is not just a list of ideals, it's a working document. The framework here, located at the QR code, is structured across 10 domains, each addressing a critical dimension of AI's role in education, from ethics and equity to IT risk and vendor evaluation. It's comprehensive because it has to be. AI touches everything from curriculum to data infrastructure to the emotional lives of students. You can use this framework to vet tools and vendors, asking hard questions about bias, explainability, and student impact. You can use it to develop governance processes, guiding everything from procurement to oversight. At its core, this is about alignment, making sure every AI-related decision is consistent with your institutional mission and educational values. Whether you're a community college, a K-12 district, or a research university, this framework can be adapted to your local context. Because ultimately, ethics is not about preventing harm, it's about enabling a future where technology supports flourishing, curiosity, fairness, and trust in education. Education must lead, not follow. This is not about technology, it's about values, democracy, and humanity. If we want justice, inclusion, and dignity built into education, we have to lead. And the cost of inaction is a generation of students shaped by systems they can't question or understand. You don't have to be an AI expert to lead this work, just brave enough to ask, what kind of a learning environment are we building, and who might it leave behind? Rooted in values like transparency, equity, and care, we can ensure AI serves education, not the other way around.